much. It's that cliche of like an instrument becoming an extension of your writing sort of thing. It's just the thing that I go to. Like, I've had a couple of periods in the last year where I'm just feeling flat songwriting wise, and the state of the world and whatever. It's weirdly either great for being creative or it completely kills your motivation. And it's like, yeah, I've been kind of dealing with that recently, but I always write something on that guitar, which I can't say for anything else. Like, I don't know, I've written, it's hundreds this year, hundreds of songs on that guitar. I have put the looks last, obviously, as helpful as they are. It's like finding someone that you love, right? It's like the looks are just a bonus. Like, I feel like I'm in love with her. She just happens to be really good looking. But they're so hard to pick between the tone and the playability. Different types of playability will change the way you write. So I'm not mad at a guitar that doesn't have amazing playability, because those restrictions can really help create something else. It's like, I'm a big fan of obstacles. And kind of, I didn't want this guitar to be, I know it sounds stupid, but I didn't want it to be super, super light on the fingers and too easy, because my relationship with acoustics in the past was that I wrote better on things that I had to find my way around more. So I probably would say the tone is the most important, because, I mean, as long as it's unique, that's good. If it has its own character, that's very important. And then for me with this guitar, the most important thing was being able to sound great mic'd and also plugged in. Because like, I do want to take that feeling that when I was writing the songs and what burst the songs onto the stage and onto a recording, and still have people experience that authentic sound of the guitar. So probably the most important thing. It's so hard. The thing that I say all the time and I constantly repeat myself with is it is just organic. It's like mixing with balanced headphones. Like, you need to capture everything on an even scale. So like, it doesn't have too much of anything. That doesn't mean it doesn't have character, because it does. It just means that you're not suffering from, yeah, there are some restrictions I could deal with, but yeah, I couldn't deal with the boominess of a Dreadnought, or, you know, me with electric guitars, I'm not a fan of the brightness that comes from a maple. I always like rosewood, and it's that kind of thing. Yeah, it's balanced and it's organic and it's real, and the amazing thing about it is that it does, like, I've had people say to me, because it's smaller, is it a struggle getting it to project good tone? Is it smaller? Is it less? And it's just such a myth. It's such a myth. It's really amazing at projecting. It sounds big, and it's so present, and it's captured amazingly on stage and on records, and you would not know. Well, to the people who think that a smaller guitar means a reduction in tone, you wouldn't know that it was a smaller bodied guitar. It depends. Every song, every album, I'm working on a lot of different things at the moment, and it just depends on what I'm looking for. I like being able to play with the different things you can get from it. So I'm a big fan when recording acoustics. Like, I really want to capture that acoustic sound, but you've got so many things that make that up. That you've got, you know, the woodiness and the body and the presence and the roominess of a guitar. So like, I do both, actually. I often do something that I learned from Pete Thorne, actually, when we were recording my first album, which was like panning pretty hard, like recording one acoustic direct in, and you get something from that, and then recording with a mic and panning it to the other side, and then you get this weird blend where you've got the same guitar producing two different sounds, and it creates that richness. So like, I am doing both, but it's because you can, and it's because I'm self-indulgent and want it all. It is like every major event in the world, it's been about adapting to new circumstances. So we do have new limitations that I wasn't expecting. I'm not able to play it as much with my full original band at the moment because of things that I think most of us can relate to, which is things like, I can't do that day, I need to work, I need to make money, I can't get from here to there, I just had COVID and I'm going to have to work extra hours, and it's things like that. It's just an unfortunate fact of the times we're living in. I am really fortunate that I've joined a band called Rosie, and we are gigging a ton, which is really exciting. And I joined the band first and foremost as a guitarist, which is not something I've done for a really long time. So after the pandemic, being shut away, being like a songwriter and in a bubble and whatever, and then it's like, get on stage and rock your dick off. And I'm like, okay. And it's been really fun, and I feel very, very fortunate and grateful to just have the opportunity almost to just like vomit all of the energy I had over those 2 years that had been pent up and not going anywhere. So a bit of both, I think. I'll be there in... Such a fun question, because you know how polarizing it is. Every artist seems to have a super extreme view, one or the other. I don't know many people that don't, and I think that's the interesting thing. I have to say, being in the arts, it's like, you know, Nina Simone said this, like, if you're not using your art, don't quote me, I can't remember the exact quote, but she basically said, if you're not using your art for a vehicle of change, then why are you doing it? And it's like, that doesn't have to mean, and this is where I'm coming from most of the time, because I feel like I'm a very small voice in a massive pond, and yeah, I get that feeling all the time, but you know, songwriters have this amazing opportunity to be storytellers. It's part of our job to reflect pop culture back at itself like a funhouse mirror and either say exactly what's going on or make fun of it or satire or whatever. Like, we are in this unique position that nobody else is in, where we can just reflect what's going on back at everyone, we can shine a light on it, we can just tell the story, we can do whatever. Like, even if you're talking about emotional things, relationships or mental health or the environment or whatever, like, it is important to do this because we as a society go to the arts to relate and to understand and to process and to cherry pick bits of information and take what we want and leave what we want. Like, I don't know what I would write about. Like, if you're, I don't know, like, if you're totally against talking about social issues or what's going on in the world or what people are feeling, what are you writing about? Like, going to clubs, getting drunk, I don't know, like, you know, each to their own, but it's a missed opportunity, I think, if people don't do it every now and again. I was at primary school, so I don't have any musicians in my family. I don't have a musical background. I never studied music. I never had music lessons. I have zero theory knowledge. I'm a complete Luddite when it comes to anything like that. I just, from the beginning of my life, gravitated to music and instruments and making things and painting on things and whatever it was that I could do. And yeah, my mum just had a handful for the first few years of my life until she realized that she could stick something in front of me like a piano or a guitar and I'd just occupy myself for hours. So I think that's just it. I don't remember a time where I wasn't focused on that. But I think properly started to focus on guitar and playing it when I was about, maybe not even 16, more like 17, 18. So it's been about 9 years properly playing it, but I had a very on-off relationship with it because I have zero attention span. Basically, it was like, oh, guitar is nice. What's a cello like? What's the violin like? Flute sounds fun. It's like lots of stuff. So with the Rosie band, we, between us, have put together a little record label, an independent label called Ivy Records. It is not a spelling mistake, it is Records. And kind of the intention was not just to give ourselves a platform to release music on, because it's always a good idea, I guess, to do that these days, but also in the hope that we can, because we are all big fans of music and big fans of, especially I've tried to find a way for a while of people like myself making things at home and not having the privilege of nepotism or major financial injections from my parents, you know, stuff like that. It's like, it's hard when you have ideas and you have creativity, but you might not have the band, you might not have the finances, you might not have the facility. So like Ivy Records is basically, we are seeking out really talented people who don't have those things and might need those things. So we have Rosie, and then everyone who joins us is part of the house band. So somebody comes along that's really great, but they need a drummer. We've got a drummer. You know, they come along, they need a space to record. We have a space to record. They want to come and do a single, and they've never done one before, and they're an artist with loads of ideas, but they haven't had a producer to come and help them put them together. We have that. So it's like that mentality of kind of creating a community and a label where we release people. And so we've got a singles club in that vein. And we've got music out from Rosie, obviously, and music out from an amazing independent artist called Ivan Moore, who is going to be the next Shuggy Otis meets Al Green. He's fabulous and like so talented. So he's got 2 new songs out in which we used people from Rosie and from other bands to put it together. And then I've got my singles from the Singles Club coming out on April 29th. And they're all written and produced by me, and then featuring on one of them the guitarist of the Vaccines, Freddie Cohen, who's a friend. And we're all going to Mexico in May to write together and do things with our label, and hopefully one in Mexico, and like expand the family and get lots of creative people to do a bunch of music together.